Hey guys, Omni here. We are finally going to be checking out, apparently, Mike Flanagan's final series, with Netflix at least, and that is The Fall of the House of Usher, which I've been greatly looking forward to. I'm still sad with what happened with the Midnight Club. Check out my reactions to that if you haven't seen it. I really enjoyed that show. It's sad to me that we weren't going to get a second season to that, but I've loved every show he has done, and all of them I have reacted to on this channel. So check out my reactions to The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and even, yes, The Midnight Club. I've been really looking forward to this one, especially because being the, gothy emo kid I was growing up, loved me some Edgar Allen Poe. And this, of course, is based upon one of his short stories, loosely so based on the trailer. Obviously, they're taking a lot of twists and turns, and just looking at the episode list for this as well, there's a lot of allusions to different stories, both poems and short stories done by Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm just really curious to see how they pull this all together, how they twist this, because even Hill House and Bly Manor are adaptations loosely of previous source material, but they very much have their own distinct identity. I did brush up on my Poe lore a little bit going into this, so I'm hoping to catch a couple things. We got to talk a little bit, not directly about this show with Annabeth Gish when I was at FileFest. After one of her panels, Annabeth Gish talked about a particular experience in a project. Obviously, because of the strike, she couldn't name specifics or anything like that, but talking about an experience on set that she had done recently. And what has she been in recently that she's been working on and filming? Well, this. And I talked to her after the fact, too, at her table for a little bit. We had a little conversation about working with Mike Flanagan in the past and, certain elements of that. And we know he's an X-Files fan. He even, confirmed as much on Twitter, responding to one of my tweets, prying for that fact because of all the little nuggets and stuff and the recurring X-Files alumni he keeps pulling in. And then the straight-up Scully poster in Midnight Mass. So I was like, man, how much of this influences is in here? And we got to talk about that a little bit. It was a lot of fun. But there's a particular scene she had to perform she described that she never wants to repeat again. And I'm really looking forward to it. But that's the only thing I know about this that didn't seem to show up in the trailer. I'm not exactly sure who she plays in this. Based on her description, I would assume Madeline Usher, but I don't remember seeing who she plays, what her character name was, just that she was on the list. With that said, though, that's kind of everything I've got right now. Let's go ahead and strap in. So guys, if you want to see the full-length reaction, check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, it gets you access as well. It's in watch-along format, so you win your own footage to sync up with the time codes and reaction the entire episode. Over there, you also get to suggest and vote on what movies to react to each month. We got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage, trying to make it worth your while, since you're going to support the channel. But guys, I really appreciate it. If you enjoy this reaction, to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. Before we jump into this, I do want to thank the guys over at Prepper for helping me edit down these highlights for you guys here on YouTube. But with that all said and out of the way, let's hop into episode 1, A Midnight Dreary. Here we go. God, I've been waiting for this for so long, dude. I can't wait to watch this show. God, how many monologues am I going to have to butcher or truncate to even show, man? Ooh. God damn, right out of the gate with that.
For then, the spirits of the dead stood in life before thee, are again in death around thee. Breeze, the breath of God is still.
Oh, are we gonna go back and see how everything unfolded? Oh yeah, Mark Hamill too.
And a token, how it hangs upon the trees.
Lots of Mike Flanagan alumni as well.
The boundaries which divide life from death are, at best, shadowy and vague.
Ooh.
Grab it.
Peer into the abyss.
What is it?
She's here. Our first impulse is to shrink from the danger.
Now this is this subject matter, at least, is probably the ones, out of all the ones he's adapted, I'm the most familiar with. Though it's been a long time since I've read any of these works, so forgive me if I miss something or I'm a little rusty. I tried to do a little touch up, but there's only so much I could do before this came out. Oh, Okay, so I'm wrong about Madeline. Oh my God, Prospero. He was, I think. Oh, the detective. Wow. Okay. What the hell?
He wants to meet with you tonight.
Who?
Him. He sent an address.
Yeah, but what I think I was saying before I got jump scared out of my thought process was like, if we know Mike Flanagan, he loves his monologues, and I know a lot of people get upset when I have to either trim them down or drop some. It's unfortunate, but I wish I could include everything, guys. I really do.
It's better we talk with your attorney
How many
present.
subpoenas have you sent me over the years? You finally got me. You're hung up on protocol.
Waive it then.
Fine. I waive my right to an attorney.
Okay. So aside from him, it seems like a lot of the other characters are just allusions to other tales.
I called you tonight to give you the only thing you've ever wanted. My confession.
November 20th, 2023. Mr. Usher has waived his right to have an attorney present.
And Mr. Dupin has waived a glass of Henry IV, so which of us is crazier?
And what exactly are you confessing to? You mentioned Title 18, Section 371. That's defrauding the U.S. government.
All of it.
All of it.
The whole thing.
Every law imaginable.
I know how they died, Roderick. Everybody knows.
Believe me, Mr. Dupin, when I tell you don't know a thing. But where to start?
God, this...
Beginning, I suppose, is here.
Oh, we're gonna see how every one of them systematically was taken out. Maybe as a result of whatever sins he's a party to make him come to this point.
And the woman who would shape every choice we'd ever
Go!
made, our mother,
Gishy!
Eliza. She was personal secretary to the CEO.
So she's Mama Usher.
For reasons we were far too young to understand, we were forbidden to go anywhere near Longfellow's house.
I love when he brings people back, man.
It was one of our mother's most insistent rules.
fun.
So Madeline, being Madeline, insisted that we break it.
So one of the things I really liked about the early American Horror Story seasons was, just getting to see all these actors just play all kinds of different people.
Climbing my fence. Not here, not ever, we agreed.
Oh.
Make sure those Emory files are on my desk.
Madeline hated Longfellow even then. She knew. Somehow, she always knew.
Was his name Robert Longstreet? It's kind of funny.
How's your foot?
It hurts.
Remember what Mother Teresa said. Pain and suffering are like the kiss of Jesus.
If pain and suffering were the kisses of Jesus, then he kissed the living fuck out of my mother.
Oh.
If it was you telling her what she needs to do, she might listen. She won't listen to us.
Eliza was a decent worker for a long time, but she lost it. Take your grift and get off my property.
See, that's another example, though. This is a very different character for him.
Well, we know what she wouldn't want us to do. If we call someone, that means police. Doctors, they'll embalm her.
They can't.
I know.
So what do we do?
Well, damn. I was hoping for more Gish than that.
The danger was past.
Oh.
The funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead.
Man, the gaps in the crate, coffin.
Maddie!
Wow, how the hell she billed herself out of there, dude?
Mommy!
Sorry, what was that in that left corner that we just swept over? Well, I'm assuming this is still included, but that covers everything that was described, that was talked about at the panel. Ooh.
What are you doing here?
Oh, did she live just long enough to do that and take him with her? Or was she even alive at all?
The official story was Longfellow had a heart attack in his sleep. That was before the internet, prehistoric times. And the nastiest bits we cleaned.
Yeah, that was what she described. The contacts, the makeup, actually being concealed in a casket.
Why are you telling me this? Why are we talking about your mother?
Oh, I assume that I'm supposed to because she's here.
I'm sorry. What?
She's right behind you.
High-powered negotiation tactics. How brilliant business people will plant these moments into high-stakes conversations. Talk softly to make an adversary lean in.
I don't see anything back there. We finally got a backward angle.
I'm not going to turn around, Roderick.
It's fine with me.
So why are you telling me this?
Shit! I thought that was a door I didn't see.
I just promised I would never do what he did. I would never close the gates. If you're my blood, you're my blood. Doesn't matter how you got here, who your mother was. I have 6 kids.
Oh, and no matter what they got into, he still kept them close.
I never saw your husband at the courtroom, not once. It was a culmination of your life's work, and he wasn't there, rooting you on. Why is that, if you're such an expert on family values?
Damn.
I watched that tape back a few times.
The last time you were impressed?
No, the last time we were all together was the last day we were all in the same place, alive.
I like how he specified that. The last time we were all in the same place, alive.
And it is my privilege to represent the United States of America.
Oh shit, that was only 2 weeks ago. Maybe he said that and I missed it because I was just zoned in on everything around the house.
I know, there have already been a lot of headlines about Fortunato Pharma, about Ligadone.
Yo, wait, was that Nicholas Lee? I'm gonna have to check the credits.
The Usher family, under CEO Roderick Usher and COO Madeline Usher, spent 4 decades growing Fortunato into one of the most profitable, powerful companies. They've achieved this by doing awful things.
Raul?
It claims its products are safe and effective and destroys any evidence that they are not. Burns evidence, fabricates evidence. The reason their lead attorney and enforcer, Mr. Arthur Pym, he's the one doing the crossword puzzle while I'm talking. They believe that people like them don't go to prison.
Monologue number 1.
In 40 years, not one thing, not one consequence has stuck.
Objection. Sustained.
It is. That's good.
Has weathered every storm, sling, and arrow and stands higher, stronger, and darker today.
He was on that very same panel. I didn't know he was in this.
You're going to hear from one of them, an informant from within the inner circle, someone so close to this family's crimes, their testimony and evidence will be unimpeachable.
Objection.
Approach.
That's good old Alex Krycek from the X-Files.
We have reason to believe this courtroom is compromised. Some's position is that the danger is real and immediate.
All the more reason not to mention this in your opening argument, Mr. Dupin.
You're right, Your Honor.
More X-Files alums, man. Whoa, let's go.
I'll happily strike.
And of course, Mark Hamill. So many greats this season, man. A lot of familiar faces from other Mike Flanagan shows, but a lot of new big names. Well, new to the Flanagan family.
Family dinner. All of them, spouses too.
No, this is not a joyful.
And Pym, he was a sailor in one of the stories, so like that gives me at least some credence for the fact that they're just kind of like making references. He's not credited, but that was definitely him. Or a look-alike and a sound-alike.
And this always just delights him, and he's in such a mood.
Well, yeah, there's an informant in the family. I mean, that can't be true, can it?
Did he say in the family or just close to the family?
Who knows what that crazy little spithead will or won't do? And why the fuck? Sorry, honey.
If someone really broke the law, shouldn't they be punished?
Lenore, that is a brave and thoughtful thing to say, especially if you want to get written out of the will.
It's not her, is it?
He gets everything anyway, no matter how inept he is, apparently. Just look at his name. Frederick is about as close to Roderick as you get without a junior. I don't know why I didn't just call him Froderick.
Froderick.
I built the launch date into the presentation. Dad's already signed off.
The world will understand, Tammy.
I don't give a shit. I care about what Dad thinks, and he'd write this out, so we write it out.
God, she's so good, man.
You warm up Built Nation, you keep those 10 million subscribers all frothy for me.
You know Blippi has 12 million?
Fuck Blippi.
All right, let's close her up.
Oh, wow.
You sure you want me to come tonight? It'd be a bloodbath.
They said, bring Al. Sorry, Dr. Reed, but you...
I love this, like,
You absolutely cannot come.
paranoia.
Leo, you let me move in, but you won't let me meet your family?
That's right.
Hell yeah, dude. Look at that.
We can talk about it then, okay?
I'll be right up. I'm in the elevator. We can talk about it in a minute.
Oh, you're in the elevator. Okay.
That's an Iron Man helmet. Oh, God. Hey.
Now.
Ah! Ah!
Why are you home early? Not that I'm complaining.
I figured shit might hit the fan. I saw the clips in the news. Hey.
Damn. Because she's still out there.
Talk about his Jordans and his charity work. Kimmel, Colbert, also Leo. Find Victorine as well. Victorine will work for Vanity and Cosmo. For some reason, people like her.
Your step.
Hey, I did not recognize him until he talked.
Room floor, do they think I can turn her into Princess Grace? It's old enough to be her grandfather. That'll never not be gross. It's fine, whatever. Fine, give them what they want.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna find out who's talking to the feds, and then I'm gonna freeze their fucking head, and I'm gonna give it to my father on a platinum plate.
Good God.
I've never hosted anything before.
You'll be great. You don't really have to do anything.
God, we didn't have a wedding. Didn't have to look them
Oh,
all in the eye.
wow.
They hate me.
They don't.
Well, except Freddie. But I'm pretty sure he's just kissing your arse.
I'm so glad Ruth Codd is still getting work, man. The fact that she was pulled off a TikTok for Midnight Club, she was like my favorite thing in that season, man. There's a lot of great things in that season, but she was a force.
You've had a calendar year, to come up with a proposal for your first business venture, which we'd like to support.
Well, obviously you're not thinking big enough. Is the flagship club going to be amazing?
Oh, God, damn. I didn't even recognize...
Well, outside of naming this establishment after yourself?
Well, this isn't a fucking Dave & Buster's, Aunt Madeline. I'm talking Brigane. Limelight.
So Madam President is Madeline.
What is going on with you? Something is going on with you.
All good. Right behind you.
For the road.
Oh. Who's Gugino this time around? We've only seen flickers of her so far.
Arthur, you gotta dig into this book, find something for our defense. Oh no, it's cake.
Wow.
Well, I swear, if your TV show had been about your cakes, it would have run 20 seasons.
Care to wash it down? Coffee?
Is it also cake?
Bear's cake.
All right, well, you all eat the law. Mr. Pym has some important paperwork for each of you.
Oh!
Wait, is this also cake?
Is this also cake?
Al, have you gotten to sign an original Pym yet? It's a rite of passage. Just wait till you see the prenup.
Oh yeah, speaking of prenups, how are things, Juno?
It's going great. Yeah, I prefer not to sign anything without my guy looking at it first.
Or not. While we're on the subject, and I hate to be the one to point this out,
Hey. Oh, wait, no, that was the actual cake. I was like, hey, actual cake, but that was the cake they literally just cut.
Oh, fuck you very much, Victorine.
No infighting.
God, man.
Have some dignity.
This is such a nasty table, man.
Anyone comes after us, we will exhaust our arsenal until the threat's neutralized.
By neutralized, you mean sued into oblivion?
Neutralized. Like dead. Pym made this document particularly nasty. I asked him to,
wow.
But that's not the thing. When I find out who's been talking to the goddamn government against your own blood, there won't be enough of you left to sue. Left to sue the bloody puddle of gore in the designer shoes.
Oh my God.
We'll find out.
$50 million to the lucky usher who figures out who's talking to the feds. No strings, no taxes.
Did you just...
Yes, I'm putting a bounty on you. You.
Wow. He put a bounty.
It's 50 million. Sleep tight.
Wow.
Happy hunting.
And that was the last time I saw them all together. And for some of them, the last time I saw them alive.
Wow, dude. That is some brutal shit.
Investigated pretty thoroughly, and as strange as they may be, those deaths are unrelated.
I am responsible. And more to the point, there's a woman.
I knew that. You know her too.
Woman I have to tell you about. What did she do to me?
Oh, wow.
You know my favorite holiday? New Year's Eve. You know why? Resolutions. People take that word for granted. They don't realize just how heavy a word it is. Resolution.
Monologue incoming.
And most people go their whole stupid lives without 1 minute of true resolution. Not me. And not Madeline.
God, I'm so, like, sucked into this, man. It's like part horror, part, what do you want to call it? Like business drama, part mob in a way. Who done it? There's so much going on right now, man. Oh, what's up? Sorry, I'm just getting excited every time I see a familiar face.
Haven't seen this place before. Did you just open?
Sort of.
Thought it'd be more crowded. New Year's and all.
Oh, it'll fill up later. We're a midnight business. Tonight, anyway.
Just open. Midnight business.
You guys look like you've had a wild night already. Sending 79 out with a bang, yeah? Well, I'll drink one with you. Don't tend to do that.
All the Poe decor.
We wait here. Drink, but don't get drunk. Talk, but don't talk. If the cops aren't here by midnight, that's a good sign.
Oh, what the fuck did they do?
I'm Verna.
Roderick. This is Madeline.
Verna.
Ball drop?
That name, it's an anagram for Raven. I've used many for various creative characters.
We buried my boy. The 6th coffin I've put in the dirt in less than 2 weeks.
Who shall say where the one...
God damn it, what is going on?
We stand on the brink of a precipice, the abyss.
What is it?
She's here.
Our first impulse is to shrink from the danger.
Make a deal with the devil? What is she? Outside of time and space. Brand new bar.
Merged in a cloud of unnameable feeling. It is
The
merely
fuck?
the idea
Is she a demon? What in the world?
our sensations.
Maybe I'm overthinking it way too much. Oh.
From such a height.
Ooh.
For this very cause do we now most vividly desire it.
Oh, fucking Christ.
It's time. It's time. It's time.
Oh. God damn, that was good. Holy shit, man. This is a whole everything. I mean, like every one of his shows, man, has a completely different vibe. There's a couple of key elements you can kind of count on to make some appearances and pop up, but my God, does everyone feel so different. This feels like, and now I've never seen it or anything like this. This feels like what I hear about Secession, about What was that one with John Hamm? Like, it's got this like this business empire, political mob-like, soprano-like intrigue where they're all doing their dirty little deals and gangs, and they've got their own little thing, but they're under this blanket that kind of creates this kind of like this powerhouse family that's just untouchable in a lot of ways because of all of these different elements, both their wealth, their fame, and their resources. This like chain that binds them all, whether it be legally or because the only people that will cover their asses is their own family. And everybody's got their own game. Everybody's got their own different angle, their own different like section of the family business, it seems like, where they all kind of garnered their wealth out of pharmaceuticals or whatever, which is interesting. That's interesting, coming back to their mother who died because of her religious beliefs. You know, she didn't believe in medication, she didn't believe in seeing doctors, she didn't believe in anything foreign coming into the body. You know, that's why she died. She ended up, whether or not that really happened or not, the official story obviously was that he died of a heart attack, right? Nobody mentioned their mom. Was what they saw, it clearly happened, but was that a supernatural act that came about? Or did she actually wake up, bust out of the coffin, and kill him, and they covered it up? It's very likely they could have covered it up. I'm just curious about all of that. But yeah, when Annabeth was talking about some links she had to go through, like what it was like one of the things that kind of challenged her the most, I think emotionally. Actually, you can find the panel where she talks about this on the X-Files News channel on YouTube. I believe they have it posted. I don't know the actual YouTube channel name. I know they're X-Files News on Twitter, and they've been posting like the recorded panels and stuff like that. It was the front line for that whole thing. You know, she talked about a recent experience in which she had to be buried alive or at least sealed up in a coffin. And I've talked about this before, the lengths actors will go and like the emotional trauma that you have to imagine, the circumstances you have to imagine, whether or not you feel or are experiencing these things yourself firsthand, or you have to put yourself and hold yourself in those very same mental states, that how taxing that can be. Somebody who has to be in this dark, dingy, morbid headspace, the things you have to manufacture in your mind to make your body react in certain ways. I've talked about this a lot because I mean, I've never dived so hard into it. I've dabbled a little bit. I can make myself cry if I need to. It takes a while. It takes a lot of while for me to build up to it and stuff like that. But like, you know, there's a lot of things you just have to call to get that to come out. Or there's something you can imagine that hasn't happened, or something you call back from a previous past experience that still hits, that still pulls at you. To live in these moments of pain and anguish, like it takes a toll. And she was talking about that. Like, this is one of those moments where she had literally was sealed up. She was locked away in a coffin. On top of that, she had all these layers of makeup. I think she mentioned she had 2 sets of contacts in. There was contacts upon contacts as well on top of the makeup. You know, a lot of it was practically done. It wasn't CGI, even though a lot of it was kind of like color graded. It's hard to tell. It's just a lot to put your body through and your mind. Fake or not, they feel it all the same. And it's almost this, because they love the art, seemingly, it's this masochistic relationship with the human experience where nobody should willfully want to experience depression, schizophrenia, fear, death, desperation, and all that, let alone have real world things come into you, but then just volunteer to feel those things just for the authentic expression of it for our entertainment. Like, this literally psychological torture for a lot of these people, depending on the role. Obviously, there's a wide spectrum of it, but when you get into stuff like this, I just can only imagine it gets pretty heavy. And it was fun, like, hearing her talking about that, and I had the privilege of talking with her a little bit more about the experience itself and just her relationship and dynamic with Mike Flanagan and stuff like that, which was a lot of fun, since we had to keep it, you know, within the strike guidelines and stuff, because obviously the actors are still currently on strike, at least at the time I'm filming this. You know, obviously a lot of those things were still in play when we were at that convention or whatever. I love getting that insight. I love the way they draw on these different things, and everybody just dives into this so well. And that's one of the reasons why I like people like Mike Flanagan, Tarantino, people who have, even James Gunn, you know, a lot of directors, showrunners, they have people, you know, they familiarize themselves with. It makes the work easier. You know what they can bring to the table, but at the same time, like when you're bouncing around, you're seeing different sets of cast doing very different things. You're seeing a lot of different performances, but I think it's fun seeing people go from one to the other. Like a lot of Mike Flanagan's work, you will see so many of the same faces. I'm pretty sure Henry James, that's his name, right? I always got it mixed up because one of his characters was also James whatever as well. See, I fucked it up. It's Henry Thomas. But anyway, Henry Thomas, you know, Carla Gugino, his wife, Kate Siegel, they're in all of these shows in one way or the other. And I kind of talked about this earlier. I don't know if it made it in the edit. It's one of the things I really enjoyed early on about American Horror Story before I just kind of lost interest in the later seasons and stuff. I like seeing people's range, seeing them play different characters in different situations, sometimes complete polar opposites of the people we've seen before. I mean, compare Raul Coley's character in this to his character in Midnight Mass. Night and day difference. You know, same with Henry Thomas every time he pops up. You know, it's so much fun seeing them stretch these muscles in these really, really interesting ways. And this is what I love about horror is I think it really can tap in, and I don't know that I would call this necessarily horror. It dives into a broader range of spectrum than a lot of things might go into. There's a lot you can glean about the human experience in these kind of edge of darkness kind of territories. It's maybe not always the most fun for some people, and sometimes it's not the best for your own psyche. It can definitely test you and leave you in a dark place at times if you let it. And don't get me wrong, man, there's been a couple of episodes I know, like of Hill House, that just left me just distraught by the end of it. Like I felt like I was pulled to the lengths of what I could handle some nights when I was recording that. But that's what I love about this. And Mike Flanagan, he just has this eye and this pen for like really diving into what makes people tick, what people fear, and not really the scary elements of it. That's more of a set dressing in a way to kind of give it like a physical thing to focus in on, but like it's the actual existential questions of life, death, meaning, family, you know, all these things about the human experience that he really, really knows how to like dive into. And dude, again, I wish the show did a lot. I wish people watched it, man, because it saddens me every time I think about it, is the Midnight Club. I really think that first season, especially with the setting and the premise, you know, from an outsider looking in, it has this kind of Are You Afraid of the Dark kind of vibe to it, this kind of young teen thing. And while it did skew a little younger than some of other shows, at least the marketing pushed it that way, it was heavy. But also, all this stuff, while it does deal with these existential things, at the end of the day, all of it is also a celebration of life, of connection, of our experience, you know. And I'm wondering, with a family like this, Roderick Usher in this, everything he's decided to do is based on his childhood trauma and experience, from how he grew up with his mother to how his own father, the implications of that obviously were right there. And this is the thing, like we saw most of the cast here and a lot of people playing certain different characters and same characters at different points in time. I think we're going to be jumping around from the periods a lot as we kind of fill in the gaps. So I wonder if we'll get more of that and more Annabeth, because she's credited with 8 episodes, and everything I've seen and had her talk about was just in this one. And I'm like, damn it, I was really looking forward to more Annabeth, dude. But if this is all we got, it was still a fun little thing to have her pop up in. You know, she was great in Hill House, and she was great in Midnight Mass, especially. Oh, that's something I forgot about. Credits. Was that Nicholas Lee? Because it's not on his IMDb. Because in the middle of one of the scenes, I did check. Yes, that was him. It was Nicholas Lee. I knew that voice. I knew. He was there too. He was at that very same panel where she was talking about, because it was Mitch Pileggi, Annabeth Gish, and Nicholas Lee on that panel. And he had talked about Not acting as much anymore because over the pandemic and stuff, he became a father, and that's kind of all he's been doing. So I didn't know he had anything active because this definitely didn't come up, and he wasn't on the IMDb for this. It wasn't on his IMDb. So when he popped up as the judge in here, that was a shocker to me. He was also real nice to talk to, man. So was Mitch. Mitch. Yeah, man. God damn. But like, I love the setup of this. I love this kind of like stark contrast because you have this kind of like elevated, I think that's a nice little contrast too, because like I was talking about, I got way too distracted there. I'm sorry. I was talking about how Roderick, everything he's doing now is, for better or for worse, a response to his childhood trauma growing up. You know, his father not wanting anything to do with him, wouldn't extend a hand, wouldn't do anything for his children, even no matter what the situation. You know, he cheated on his wife, he cheated on his family. He was this executive who, much like he is today, was well off at the time while they were not. So it's kind of like a reversal of roles. In a way, he was like he said here to Carl Umley, he didn't want to be what his father was. You know, if he became a father, his house, his family, those doors would always be open for better or for worse, or until he puts a bounty on your head. That was wild. That whole scene was crazy. But like, I like it's just formative, you know? And his sister seemed to be the one that was a little harder. She had a harder shell on her. But it definitely rooted and affected him a lot. I think in her, it made her like resent a lot more, while he kind of rebounded the other way with it. Just swore to himself, made this resolve like he was talking about here to never be that. So no matter what his family does, what they get themselves into, he will protect them. He will be there for better or for worse. Much like with his mother rejecting medicine, his family has gotten into pharmaceuticals of all things. You know, what could have saved his mom, maybe if she had seen a doctor or whatever. You know, like everything was a response. You know, he's become this weird kind of crime boss in a way. This little mob family that he's got, this little Kardashian group that he's got, not that they're a mob, but it's kind of the same thing, like the Gucci's, the Kardashians, et cetera, et cetera. These powerhouse families, you know, he's got all of them wrapped in, but they're all just chaotic. They, you know, with the wealth, with everything they get into, keeping track and keeping hold of everybody has got to be insane, and it's got to be frustrating. But he's, at the end of the day, their family, and for better or for worse, he's going to cover their asses, or at least be the one to dish it out to them. He's going to dish out that ass if he has to. That came out not the way I meant. He's going to come for that. That also was not going to make sense. He's going to be the one dishing out the punishment, not the public, not anybody else outside the family. He keeps all the drama and all the shit within their walls, which is why it's so hard to pin anything on them. But it's all just, again, it's a thing that Flanagan explores a lot, is, you know, upbringing, how we respond to formative events in our lives, how we respond with tragedy, how we take ownership of our actions for better or for worse, and how sometimes our darker instincts or impulses or our past and things we try to keep buried come for us eventually. I don't know what he and his sister did on that day, that New Year's Eve, when they first bumped into Verna in this magical upstart bar, making deals, talking about resolutions, getting free booze, and they were laying low. They needed an alibi for something they did, and they had something on their fingers. It looked kind of clayish to me. I didn't know if it was meant to be some sort of powder, or if maybe, I don't know, if they had been digging or whatever happened. Maybe the murder, maybe something, I don't know. And now this entity, this Verna, he keeps seeing, this raven keeps coming up, and it seems like whatever he's taking ownership of is like, I'm the reason all this is happening, but she's the one that killed them all. That's the vibe I got from it. So I'm very curious to see how this unfolds, because we're going to be playing around, jumping with time, which is something, again, is a very Flanagan thing to do, is to play around with, especially in Hill House, dude. Whoo! So I imagine we'll maybe get an episode for each of the kids as this kind of escalates over time, as he's telling this story, flashing back to Carl, And I like that again, I got completely sidetracked by like what I was saying is like going back to while this neighborhood he grew up in had so many horrible memories for him, he bought it all up to preserve it and let it rot. Like he said, he brought him back to the very beginning, to his childhood home, and he needs to understand all of his story to understand why he is confessing to him now and to understand the events as they have happened within the preceding weeks. But like that, like everything else, like with the father or the mother, his upbringing, his current placement of his home, his own idea of where he grew up has been corrupted, has been rotted. It's the thing he's been running from. If you juxtapose that with where they currently live, you know, where you're cutting around between all the different apartments and high rises and all that kind of stuff in their little manor or whatever, it's just clean, sterile. It's just a complete contrast, but things have devolved at that point. Like it's a clean mask of just the shady darkness that's creeping in their lives that is coming for them. I don't know. There's just so many little things throughout this, and I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I missed throughout, but like it's not like Hill House where it's like Spot the Ghost where, oh my god, dude, the one in the fucking glass. Oh god. Oh fuck. The one in the diner, in the kitchen area, looking through the window pane. Oh my god, I hate it. Hill House was a fun watch, but I don't expect this to be quite like that. None of them have been since. There were ghosts in, not every shot, but like multiple, just hidden stationary or walking ghosts in the background of so many shots. I even reacted to a video that went through a bunch of them, man, and it was wild. But like, when he's like, my mother, she's right behind you. That whole thing, I was like, yeah, I don't see her until she moved. I didn't see her until she moved. And so I don't know how many moments there were like that. Obviously, like I mentioned before, so many of the characters are named after characters from various different Poe stories. You know, obviously, Verna is an anagram of the Raven. I called that out earlier. Prospero, I believe he was I think he was in Masque of the Red Death. There's like a bunch of like elite during the Red Death as it was going around and whatever, held up in, like they basically sealed themselves into an eternal masquerade ball, thinking that they could avoid the plague by just shutting their doors. But lo and behold, it had already creeped in. We got a black cat named Pluto. We got Arthur Pym, who was, well, here he's their lawyer, but he was, I think, from Poe's, one of his first novels, I think, if I remember right. I forget what it was called, but he was a sailor. He was a kid. He was a kid who stowed away on a ship that was going out to sea. So a lot of this is taken away. Some maybe are more on the nose. Like, speaking of Prospero, he was the kid in this who was pitching the hedonist bar. So that kind of lines up with that aspect of it. So I'm just so curious how this is going to unfold. And maybe that's a spoiler in and of itself to even mention that. And it's weird to say with this being based on things like that. But I mean, unlike the other stuff, man, these are stories that I vaguely at least know. At least I know that one. I'll tell you which ones I know for certain. And like every episode is named after a different thing. Masque of the Red Death is episode 2. Murder in Rue Morgue, I vaguely remember that one. I know the Black Cat. I know Telltale Heart. I don't know Goldbug, the Pendulum, and obviously the Raven, which seems like to be a through line for this, naturally. So I'm excited for this, man. Oh, dude, I'm so ready. From the visuals, the acting, again, we got a couple of powerhouse monologues in this episode alone. I'm curious how many more we're gonna get, you know, from Bruce Greenwood's delivery when he's talking to to Carl Lumley. And then Carl Lumley's when he's given the opening, what do you call that? The opening statement at the hearing. And then we have this, like, who's the mole within the family? And they don't even know because the testimony, the whatchamacallit, fuck, dude. The witness that is going to testify against them being from within the family. And now it creates this, like, oh, which one of us is the traitor kind of thing? Who's the one spilling the beans to the feds on the family? Creating this huge amount of tension within the group itself, which is already extremely strained. I can't wait to see how this develops. This is just the first episode, and I've already gone off the rails talking about this. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I apologize. I've been really waiting on this show since they announced it, and I'm so excited to get into this. With that said, guys, what did you all think? Were there any things that you caught that I missed? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation on the video. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. If it did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And remember, you want to see the full-length reaction, check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. And speaking of before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Share, Ryan, Karen, Yuri, Corey, Scott, Margaret, Grace, Melita, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake Cantrell, Eric Official, and Amy Becca. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. That's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.